Hi everyone, today I will going to talk about the top 10 habitable exoplanets. All human beings live on Earth. Earth is the home of all human beings. But do you know the Earth's future destination is either its own explosion or swallowed by the sun? Whatever the end, they are all crowning calamity for human beings. Although they are very far from us, but we are the smartest species on the earth. We should be ready to find a new home. Yes, good for our living, like us. Here's a question is coming. Are there any habitable planets in the Milky Way galaxy? Because of technological problems, people only discovered 4,500 exoplanets, of which 24 exoplanets are habitable. If we want to make sure the planet is habitable or uninhabitable, the issue includes several reasons. The planet have water, atmosphere, temperature, then make sure that it's not very cold or hot, and air pressure with mass, gravity. The planet shouldn't be very hot, like the second planet that closest to the Sun in the solar system, called Venus, which of Earth's evil twin sister in the solar system. Venus is covered by a thick layer of clouds, which contains high level of carbon dioxide. Venus has very thick atmosphere, which rains sulfuric acid. Venus is covered by mostly active volcanoes with magma covered on its surface. The planet shouldn't be very cold as well, like the planet everywhere covered by ice, glaciers, like the ice giant in the solar system. My favorite planet, called Neptune. The temperature of Neptune is very cold. It isn't good for our living because the cold temperature can make people feel cold and die pretty soon. Another reason could make the planet life possible or not. It should be orbiting a good star. If that isn't orbiting a star in a habitable zone, we will die pretty soon because they are hot. T-Garden b is a habitable exoplanet. It orbits a red dwarf star, only 12 light years away from the solar system. It takes 5 days to complete rotating the star called T-Garden. T-Garden is a very cool red dwarf star with temperature 2637 Kelvin, luminosity of 0.0073 L. The mass of T-Garden star is 9% lighter than the Sun, with age of 8 billion years older than the Sun and several times smaller than the Sun. The rotational period of T-Garden b is so fast and short. We couldn't survive on it. We will become a short-lived person and die very soon because the T-Garden b exoplanet has no 4 seasons. We need 4 seasons to survive, but there's no 4 seasons. We couldn't survive. But luckily, T-Garden b has atmosphere, water, ocean, good for living, except the rotational period. The discovery date of T-Garden b exoplanet from Iris constellation was in June 2019, just like 2 years ago. Kepler 1638b is a super-Earth exoplanet that orbits a star called Kepler 1638. It is a yellow dwarf star located at Cygnus constellation. This yellow dwarf star is slightly smaller than the Sun. If you stay on the surface of this exoplanet, you will experience very similar things compared to the Earth. Firstly, the habitable exoplanet Kepler 1638b is located at the habitable zone with the distance 0.745 astronomical units away from its star, and it takes 259.3 days to complete one orbit of its star. That means 1 year on Kepler 1638b is shorter than 1 year on Earth, with the distance 2,867 light-years from Earth. But there is one problem on Kepler 1638b exoplanet. It is 2 times wider than the Earth and 4 times heavier than the Earth. The mass of Kepler 1638b is so massive we couldn't stay on it. If you stay on it, you will feel you are way heavier compared to Earth. If you imagine you run or walk on Kepler 1638b, you will feel very tired, just like half lap, because the gravity and the mass is heavy, make your body feel heavy and hard to walk. You will feel very tired and breathe a lot and sweat a lot as well, even bleed a lot, because the gravity can split you into a half. Seriously, it's scary, isn't it? Kepler 1638b was discovered earlier than last exoplanet we talked. Kepler 1638b was discovered at 2016. LHS 114Tb is an exoplanet of the size 40% larger than the Earth, 7 times massiver than the Earth. It takes 24 days to rotate around its star. LHS 114b is rotating a star called LHS 1140. LHS 1140 is a red dwarf star located at the constellation called Cetus. LHS 1140b with a temperature, 1140, the star with a temperature 7,131 Kelvin. It is cooler than the Sun, but it will blow out the atmosphere, evaporate the ocean of its exoplanet, make the temperature become hot, cause the exoplanet become very uninhabitable. TRAPPIST-1 TRAPPIST-1 is a star that made up a planetary system made up of 7 exoplanets. It is pretty similar to our solar system, but it is way smaller than the solar system. The 7 exoplanets from TRAPPIST-1 system looks like they are all habitable, but I will going to just pick one to talk about the third planet that closest to TRAPPIST-1, called TRAPPIST-1d. The location of TRAPPIST-1d from its star looks the same as the Earth because they are both the third planet and exoplanet that's third closest to its star. With the temperature 2,550 Kelvin, the star. TRAPPIST-1d is the third exoplanet, the closest to its star. We already know it's pretty similar to the Earth, but can you believe TRAPPIST-1d only used 4.05 days to rotate its own star with a distance 0.02228 astronomical units. It is way closer than the distance between Mercury to the Sun, even between the Moon to the Earth. The temperature, the distance between a star to the planet is very close. We still show life when we live on it with no 4 seasons. TRAPPIST-1d is a habitable exoplanet from Aquarius constellation. Proxima Centauri b is the closest exoplanet to the Earth, also the closest habitable exoplanet to the Earth. Proxima Centauri b has a star that called Proxima Centauri that we talked in ages ago. Proxima Centauri is a red dwarf star, just slightly larger than the largest planet in the solar system called Jupiter. Proxima Centauri is very cold, with very low level of luminosity. Proxima Centauri b, the exoplanet, needs 11 days to rotate around Proxima Centauri, the star. The distance between Proxima Centauri b to Earth is just like 4.24 light years. As well as we know, Proxima Centauri b is the closest exoplanet to the Earth. If a beam of light is emitted from Proxima Centauri b, it will take 4 years to reach the Earth. But if humans really want to visit the habitable exoplanet Proxima Centauri b, if we ride on the fastest spaceship from the Earth, it will take completely 100,000 years to get on Proxima Centauri b. Can you imagine? Of course, we know it is the closest exoplanet to the Earth, but it will still need several years to get on into it. Not simple. You use the light from Proxima Centauri b and use 4 years to receive from the Earth. Not that easy. If traveling needs like more than 4 years, like 100,000 years. That's unbelievable, isn't it? Kepler 452b is an exoplanet that orbits a star called Kepler 452. Kepler 452 is a yellow dwarf star from Cygnus constellation, with surface temperature slightly cooler than the Sun and slightly larger than the Sun. The exoplanet Kepler 452b is staying in a habitable zone from its host star, with the rotational period 385 days, thick atmosphere with ocean on its surface. So the life could be possible on it. But there's one problem on Kepler 452b. The mass of Kepler 452b is 3.29 times heavier than the Earth and 1.63 Earth's diameter. Landing on Kepler 455b might be a huge problem. The huge problem is the mass is heavy. When we land on it, we will feel the same as bleeding, sweating, tired if you are walking, and you will feel very heavy compared to the Earth. So the air pressure isn't good as well because of high mass. Kepler 452b's star is 11% older than the Sun, and Kepler 452b exoplanet is 6.5 billion years old. It is older than the solar system. The distance between Kepler 452b to Earth is 1,402 light years, and it was discovered at 23rd of July 2015. Kepler 22b is a two-color exoplanet with the distance 587.1 light years away from the Earth. It only uses 290 days to rotate around the star called Kepler-22. Kepler-22 is a sun-like star in the northern constellation of Cygnus, the Swan. The star Kepler-22 with a temperature 5,518 Kelvin. It is slightly smaller and cooler than the Sun. Kepler-22b is a habitable exoplanet. Guess what? If you land on the surface of Kepler-22b, you can see mint-colored sky, everywhere covered by ocean, and few places covered by rock. So that is very helpful for life. But Kepler-22b's mass is 36 times heavier than the Earth and 2.4 times larger than Earth's diameter. That is very hard for we stand on it. The distance between Kepler-22b to the Earth is 587.1 light years, and it was discovered in the 5th of December 2011. Kepler 186f is more likely to be Earth's twin, not the planet Venus. Because Earth and Venus doesn't look the same. Earth is habitable, Venus isn't habitable, so Earth and Venus doesn't look like twin sisters that much. Kepler 186f is an exoplanet orbiting a red dwarf star, Kepler 186. Kepler 186 is a star from Cygnus constellation with a temperature 3,755 Kelvin, slightly cooler than the Sun. Kepler 186f has 4 seasons on it because Kepler 186f has a very good angle of rotational axis. With atmosphere, mountain, ocean, we can see red sky every single day on Kepler 186f. Is 1.11 times that of Earth with mass 1.44 times that the Earth. Kepler 186f could be Earth's older sister because Kepler 186f looks the same as the Earth, has ocean, atmosphere, lands, and similar size but just slightly larger than the Earth, not like Venus. They both have the same temperature, 4 seasons, and everything looks the same except the color of atmosphere. So that is the reason why Kepler 186 look most likely to be the twin of the Earth. The distance between Kepler 166f to Earth is 557.7 light years, and it was discovered on 17th of April 2014. It looks like Kepler 186f to Earth like a stellar wind separated those girls, and Earth has to say goodbye to Kepler 186f, and Kepler 186f has to say goodbye to Earth as well because it grew up They have to be separated. Earth has its own family, and Kepler 186f has her family as well. They need to separate it and say goodbye to a different star system. What a sad story, isn't it? That means Earth couldn't visit Kepler 186f again because they are so far away. Kepler 1649c is an Earth-sized exoplanet with the distance 300 light-years away from the Earth, orbiting within the habitable zone of a red dwarf star. Kepler 1649 from the constellation Cygnus. Kepler 1649c uses 20 days to orbit its host star. Discovered at last year's 15th April by Kepler's spacecraft. On the surface of Kepler 1649c, we can see rocks, valleys everywhere with ocean. We can see pink sky every single day and beautiful sunrise and sunset every single day. Gliese 667cc is an exoplanet orbiting within the habitable zone of the red dwarf star Gliese 667c, which is from Scorpius constellation. It uses 28 days to rotate around its star with distance 22.18 light-years away from the Earth. Gliese 667cc is 3.8 times massiver than the Earth and 15% size larger than Earth. Gliese 667cc was discovered at 21st of November 2011. If we live on Kepler Gliese 667cc, we can see everywhere covered by valleys, ocean, pink sky with orange rocks every day. Feels like you are flying around the sky because the clouds are very beautiful and thick. We are very hard to see rocks on the ground. What a paradise place! As well, now you know top 10 habitable exoplanets. They're all discovered very late. They're discovered very late because planets don't have its own light. So if they don't produce its own light, we couldn't see them during the sky. So they are very hard to discover. Bye guys. Hope you like my YouTube channel. If you like my YouTube channel, please subscribe my YouTube channel. Bye.